Determining your profit or loss per contract requires a few steps to do properly. Starting off, the thing to note when starting your calculation is it will be from the point of the entry. So once you hit either the buy or sell, once it triggers the trade, where you were filled at is where the calculation will begin to determine how much to make or lose. So to determine this level, one could do so by setting your stop loss as well as your take profit before hitting that button. So this way you can have an understanding that once you are filled, this will be your maximum loss. This will be your maximum gain for that one trade. So to calculate this, for example, let's say an individual were to take a trade right here. Say the market broke through, showed a very big engulfing bearish candle, and at the close of this candle, you wish to place a sell trade. Right here at that point, the candle closed, you hit the sell button, and you would be entered into a trade. If that was the case, what you could do is map out where you would like your stop loss. Maybe you would like it to be above the start of that candle, since we're looking to sell the market. And this right here will be the stop loss. I'll color this red, so this way you can get an understanding that this is your stop loss. Now what I'm going to do is use this ruler tool and measure from where the projected entry would be to that stop loss location. And as you see, this would be 337 ticks. That is the minimum increment of movement for the symbol. So 337 ticks of space between your entry and then your stop loss. That will be your risk for the trade. Now it's important to note this will be your risk before any commissions or fees are applied to your trade. So if an individual chooses to do a one-to-one risk to reward, that means we are looking for an equal distance from that entry to the stop loss, as well as the entry to the take profit. So once again, we already determined this will be, let's say 337 ticks. So we want to look for 337 ticks below the market for our take profit. So essentially, let's say we draw this out. We have 337 ticks worth of opportunity from that point of entry and 337 ticks of risk, meaning if we're wrong, we lose this. So now we have a nice spacing. I'm going to color this green so you can see entry price. We're looking to sell. Take profit is blue. Red is our stop loss. So now comes the calculation. We already made the determination that 337 ticks is our stop loss. And then 337 ticks is our take profit from the point of that entry. So if we set this up here and set this here, what is going to be the dollar value for this? If we're wrong, how much will we lose financially and how much will we make financially if we're right? So with this example, this is going to be based on the NASDAQ symbol, as you see here on the chart. If I go into my calculator and load this up, I type in 337 and then multiply it by how much valuation is per tick. Keep in mind, each tick has a valuation and it varies per symbol. For NASDAQ, the cost would be $5 a tick. So we would multiply 337 times 5, and that would be $1,685 of risk. So if we are wrong with that opportunity doing one contract, we have a potential of $1,685 $685 of loss potential for that trade. And likewise, if we're right and it does go our way, we have an opportunity to make $1,685 of profit. Having an understanding of both the dollar amount that you could lose or make is just as important as understanding the tick count for loss as well as gain. So how do you find out the valuation? Well, that's something you can look up online. And what I like to do is go to NinjaTrader.com or any site that has primary source information like CME Group. You can go on a search engine and type in the different symbol and contract specifications. But what I'm going to do is go to NinjaTrader.com. My search is going to start by going to pricing and then scroll down to where it says margins. You'll see where it has all those low margins. And what I'm going to do is select view margins by market. I'm going to click this field. And when this page loads, you will see a listing of some of the different symbols that NinjaTrader offers to trade on. So for example, if I would like to get some information about light crude or crude oil, as you see here, you'll see the ticker symbol, you'll see the name, the exchange it's on, its classification, as well as its margins. But if you click the descriptor here, crude oil, you will see under here, this is the valuation per tick. So this would mean for every 0.01 cents of movement on the chart, that would equal $10 worth of movement either up or against you, depending on the direction you choose. Let's go to NASDAQ. And as I said, it was $5 a tick. If we go here to NASDAQ, NQ is the ticker symbol, you will see that each valuation of tick is going to be 0.25, which means for every 0.25 cents of movement on the chart, that will equal 1 tick of movement. And that 1 tick is going to be valued at $5. Now, another tool that an individual can utilize to help get an understanding of the risk calculation would be called the risk to reward tool. And that is found inside of the drawing tools. If I click drawing tools and select risk reward, I can select my starting point and then map out to where a stop loss could be located at, somewhere maybe down here. And if I do one left click and anchor this to the chart, you will see that a number will appear above that entry. What this is telling us is if an individual chooses to make an entry right there and the stop loss is here, the calculation from the entry to the take profit for this tool is going to be 2 times the amount of movement from that entry to the stop loss. That would yield a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. If an individual wishes to change this, all they have to do is highlight that tool. You'll see some dots on that line. Right click and select properties. Once you select properties, you will see all of the properties here, including the colors. So if you'd like to change the colors, maybe to the reward, you would like that to be blue to match what we've been doing so far. Let me go ahead and select blue. Do Dodger blue. Let's say for the risk, red, that's typically where we like to have it colored. And for entry, I want to color that green. We can change the color scheme right here for that. And if we look at the risk to reward, you'll see that the colors are changed. Now, if we would like to change the ratio, we could do that as well by going here where it says ratio and setting it to the number we desire. Let's say we are looking for an equal amount of space between this entry and stop loss, as well as from the entry to the take profit. If we choose to do that, we can do that as a 1-to-1 risk to reward. And now the spacing for this will be equal from the entry to the stop loss and then from the entry to the new take profit location. You could also change this here where it says Y value display unit from the drop down box. This is giving us the price points listed here with this tool. We can change this to something like ticks. Select apply, and you'll see that there's your entry, and it would be 86 tick risk and then 86 tick reward for this setup. You could also add on some lines. Let's say we would like to extend out the lines going to the right. We could add that on here with this tool and set up so you can see under there from the entry point those lines drawn with your take profit as well as your stop loss projections. You have some other options as well, like you can change the thickness. You can change this to maybe 3 or 4 for your stop loss, and that'll thicken up those lines. And you can change that for each of these. Maybe, for example, you don't want to have the entry shown. So what you can do is where it says opacity, change it from 100 to 0. And now only your stop loss and take profit will be displayed on the chart. Once you have it set up to your desired liking, and you want to keep that color scheme and you want to keep that Y value set to ticks or maybe price, if you choose to have this set up as a default, go to template, select save, and then set save as default. And then the next time you use this tool on a chart, it will default to these settings.